His games cancelled.
Invictus Games organisers delighted that one Meghan Markle didn't show up for the big one-year countdown in Birmingham.
It's not only a problem for his brand, it's a problem for the marriage.
How many times have I told you don't be a...
If I was Harry, I'd be lying awake at night.
Prince Harry's Invictus Games is heading toward the ending nobody believed was possible. The project that rescued Harry's reputation, gave him a purpose, and kept one piece of his royal life alive, is now surrounded by reports of missing money, departing sponsors, and the terrifying headlines that Birmingham 2027 will be reduced, delayed, or even cancelled.
I think he should move heaven and earth to make sure it's not cancelled if that's a threat, a reported threat at the moment.
And just when Harry needed one clean week to prove Invictus still matters, Meghan Markle vanished from the biggest public event. Staff were reportedly relieved that she wasn't there, but still, the Sussex drama swallowed the headlines all over again.
I thought that you would want a little bit more stardust than Prince Harry and his weird PDA with Alison Hammond, but no. There is a real desire within the Invictus Games to move the sideshow away from it becoming the Markle Games.
This is not another failed podcast or a lifestyle product that can quietly disappear from a website. Invictus is Harry's real legacy. It is the one project even many of his critics have respected because it puts wounded, injured, and sick service personnel in the spotlight. At least, that's what Invictus claims to stand for on paper.
The Games were born more than a decade ago from a promise that I made to myself. A promise to uphold my obligation, a sacred obligation after my own decade and privilege of military service. To do whatever I could to help my fellow brothers and sisters heal, and to champion everything that we stand for.
But when Invictus falls apart, Harry does not simply lose another event. He risks losing the last serious platform that still makes him look like a leader rather than a celebrity trapped inside an endless family argument. The financial pressure is serious enough for cancellation to be discussed, and that alone is explosive. You do not hear the word cancelled around a healthy international event unless somebody behind the scenes is worried about whether the numbers can still work.
Harry's the ambassador, he's the face of it, but it's really about the veterans and their families. So I think that's what they need to keep in mind. The thing about Harry is, of course, headlines are great, but they don't always generate sponsorship. In fact, sometimes the wrong headlines.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now let's get back to today's story. The British government has promised to underwrite the Birmingham Games by up to £26 million. That sounds enormous, but it does not mean Harry can sit back, smile for photographs, and assume taxpayers will cover every problem. The event still needs commercial support, working partnerships, and confidence from companies willing to attach their names to it.
The UK have pledged, they've underwritten 26 million quid for next year's Birmingham Games, but they will only release that money if Invictus raise enough money for the Games to go ahead. So currently, the UK government has given them approximately 3 million quid of that underwritten 26, which means Invictus have got to raise a lot of money between now and next year for the Games to go ahead in its entirety. And it doesn't seem like it's doing too well.
And that brings us to Meghan Markle, because her role in this story is far more complicated than simply saying she did not attend.
And that's a big problem and controversy in the past about Meghan's behaviour at the parade when she's like leading the group of veterans. Why is she leading that parade? What's she done with her body that works perfectly? Oh, look at me, I'm so able-bodied, you know, in my revealing white trouser suit. My husband!
Meghan had originally been expected at the Birmingham countdown, but the plan changed, and Harry carried out the public appearance alone. On the surface, that should have been disappointing for organizers. Meghan creates photographs, celebrity coverage, fashion stories, and international interest.
The organisers were delighted. He writes, Prince Harry arrived in Birmingham without Meghan Markle by his side, and insiders tell Naughty But Nice that behind the scenes, some Invictus Games organisers quietly welcomed the last-minute change. Meghan had been expected to attend the one-year countdown celebration, but pulled out just days before the event. Harry ultimately flew solo, and sources say his solo appearance made for a smoother, more relaxed day. There was a sense of relief backstage, one insider said.
When an event is fighting for money, losing one of its most famous faces should look like another setback. But according to a report attributed to insiders, some Invictus organizers felt the exact opposite. They were reportedly relieved that Meghan stayed away. The claim was that Harry's solo visit felt smoother, lighter, and easier to manage, because the attention remained on the veterans rather than the media frenzy surrounding the couple.
I just wanted to thank all of you for welcoming me into the Invictus family.
Harry was described as flexible and low maintenance, while Meghan's appearances were said to require extra security discussions, tighter schedules, and more last-minute coordination. That is an extraordinary backstage verdict. Imagine being attached to an event desperate for celebrity power, only for people behind it to reportedly celebrate when you do not turn up.
Meghan's appearances often require, this is an understatement, far more coordination. Her visits usually involve extra security meetings, tighter schedules, and constant last-minute adjustments, the source explains. With Harry on his own, everything is refreshingly straightforward. The team can focus on delivering a great event instead of managing endless logistics and drama.
That is not a compliment hidden inside a scheduling decision. It suggests organizers may believe Meghan brings visibility, but also a sideshow they can no longer afford. Invictus needs the right attention: competitors, recovery, resilience, and families. It does not need another week dominated by Meghan's clothes, security, demands, or whether she stole Harry's spotlight.
When Harry comes alone, the focus stays exactly where he wants it, on the veterans, not on the media frenzy that can surround a royal couple. Everyone could relax and let the event shine. A second source says Harry has earned a reputation as one of the easiest high-profile guests organisers work with. He's incredibly low maintenance, the insider says. He'll happily change plans, stay alone with athletes, and go wherever he's needed. The whole atmosphere feels lighter when it's just Harry.
This does not prove Meghan caused the funding crisis. There is no confirmed statement from Boeing blaming her. No official organizer has publicly said she drove sponsors away, and it would be dishonest to pretend otherwise. But the optics are brutal.
She couldn't even just show up to be in the background, to not make a fuss, to just be low maintenance, because she couldn't do all of those things. You know, they had to be, happy that she didn't even show up. And, Meghan, this would have been a great opportunity for her. It would have been great for Harry to be able to bring in his family. And it is quite sad that his life is in such chaos and disorder that he can't even be alongside his wife with the children, which would make it so much more nicer, I believe.
Organizers are openly inviting businesses to register their interest, which means the race for money is not finished. The clock is moving, the games are 1 year away, and the financial questions are getting louder. Then came the blow that turned concern into panic. Boeing, a major supporter of previous Invictus events, has reportedly pulled out of Birmingham 2027.
Why should Boeing and other sponsors pump millions in when they're going to be associated with a couple who the public don't like, who the public don't trust, who often the public don't believe? On the last show, we talked about this war of words with the palace. Did they offer Harry accommodation? Did they not? He said, she said.
Losing a recognizable global company at this stage is not a minor scheduling change. It is the kind of departure that makes every other sponsor ask the same dangerous question. What does Boeing know? Why did it step away? And who is going to replace the money, reach, and credibility it brought to the table?
There's no money. There's no... All the other charities were a disaster. Invictus is Harry. Harry is Invictus.
Yeah.
And you're telling me it could be cancelled.
Could be.
I promise you, other than some physical problem like illness or whatever, this is the worst thing that could happen to Harry.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this with any kind of glee. I think Invictus is a great...
I'm so happy. You've made my day.
Invictus is why Harry returned to the United Kingdom for the 1 year countdown.
If you are Better Up or whatever, it's Better Up, right? The company that pays him as, I guess, a glorified ambassador. Are you not sitting back thinking, is this the right guy? I mean, Invictus too. Are you not sitting there going, I don't know if this is the right person to represent us, because he brings destruction, chaos, and a circus wherever he goes.
This should have been his moment to sell Birmingham 2027, energize the veterans, charm major companies, and make Invictus impossible to ignore. Instead, Invictus was pushed into the background before Harry had even finished the trip.
supported Invictus Games, which is a brilliant concept, which is to show wounded people that they are not victims. What has he done to himself? He's turned himself into the biggest victim of all time.
The court defeat exploded. The argument over royal accommodation exploded. The security story returned. Meghan's absence became a story. The private family reunion became a story. Once again, the Sussexes arrived with one mission, and their personal chaos conquered every headline around it. Think about how disastrous that is for an event asking companies for millions.
Massive scoop that the whole thing could be pulled. It's truly shocking. The reason why is because this Invictus brand has been tainted by its association with the Sussexes. We know that everything they touch turns to mud. We've seen it in business, we've seen it with their broadcasting work, and now we're seeing it in the charity sector.
Sponsors do not just purchase a logo on a wall. They purchase stability, positive attention, and an emotional story they can proudly show customers and employees. Harry certainly produces attention, but attention is not the same thing as trust. As one royal commentator put it, headlines can be valuable, but the wrong headlines can actually deter sponsors. Harry can fill newspapers for a week and still fail to produce the one thing Invictus desperately needs right now: signed checks.
And it's a lonely place to be if you're the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at the moment. And it's scary. And if I was Harry, I'd be lying awake at night.
This should terrify him because Invictus is not one item on a long list of successful projects. His entertainment deals have been reduced, criticized, or allowed to fade.
Where's Netflix? This company that has bottomless pockets.
Correct.
They are spunking money left, right, and centre on stuff that doesn't work. They bought.
Beg your pardon. I was told this was a family show.
They're buying
podcasts. You know I'm a Roman Catholic.
They're buying podcasts. They're buying podcasts now that people aren't even watching on Netflix. Netflix have got money. Netflix could easily, if they're such good friends with the Sussexes, they could say, all right, here's 10 million.
Centaball ended in a bitter public rupture. African Parks has been buried under serious allegations involving local communities while Harry remained connected to it. Archewell has changed shape repeatedly. Invictus is the last place where Harry can still enter a room and immediately claim a respected mission.
Invictus is all he's got. We know that the public speaking work has dried up and he was getting $1 million per speech. Now it's 50K and the jobs aren't even coming in.
Yeah.
We know that African Parks, which is a good charity, but mired in allegations of the abuse of local tribes in Africa.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, Harry's on the board of that charity and used to run it. Then there's Centabale, another good charity that Harry lost control of following a bitter public row with Sophie Chandauka, who now controls the charity. It was his charity that he lost control of. And then there's the Archewell Philanthropies or Foundation or whatever it's called this week, which has effectively been shuttered.
At the exact moment reports say Invictus is struggling to secure enough money, insiders are reportedly saying the event operates more smoothly without the woman who has become inseparable from its public image. That creates a question sponsors will notice even if the Sussexes refuse to answer it. Is Meghan an asset to Invictus, or has the event become trapped by the celebrity circus surrounding her?
Meghan is a total nightmare to deal with. There was no excitement about these pictures. These pictures didn't make any front pages of the newspapers. They weren't being shown all over the websites around the world because Harry no longer has any glamour attached to him.
Does she bring the global audience companies want, or does she pull attention away from the veterans companies are supposed to support? Can organizers use the Sussex name to sell sponsorship without allowing every appearance to become the Meghan and Harry show? Those are not petty gossip questions anymore. If millions of pounds are still needed, they become business questions with real consequences. Harry's solo appearance exposed the other side of the problem too.
There is a growing view within Invictus that Harry is actually becoming a massive drag on the event, that they want another patron, that they believe someone like Anne, Princess Anne, or Zara or Mike Tyndall would actually be far more appropriate for the goals of the Invictus Games.
Without Meghan, the day may have been calmer, but it did not dominate the international news cycle the way a desperate fundraising campaign might need. There were smiles, sporting demonstrations, and positive moments with veterans, but the headlines quickly moved back to the court, the palace, the family reunion, and the latest Sussex contradiction. Invictus escaped the Meghan circus for a few hours, yet it still could not escape the larger Harry circus surrounding the entire trip.
Invictus, which is losing sponsors left, right and centre. And now this.
No, this is a major blow to Prince Harry.
That is the impossible position Harry has created. When Meghan appears, critics accuse the couple of turning Invictus into a personal publicity event. When Meghan stays away, her absence becomes the story, and Harry loses some of the celebrity sparkle that might attract cameras and sponsors. When the children are mentioned, security takes over. When the palace is mentioned, reconciliation takes over. When Harry enters court, his anger takes over. No matter which direction they turn, the Sussex brand seems to swallow the cause they claim to be promoting.
The usual thing with the Sussexes always ends in tears.
Yeah.
Everything they do flops. If it doesn't involve blabbing about the royal family and attacking the monarchy, everything else flops. Nick, tell me one outside of the royal thing. Give me one thing that's like been a success.
And Harry cannot blame the British press for all of this. He knew the countdown was coming. He knew Birmingham 2027 needed a clean launch into its final year. He knew companies would be watching. Yet his return was surrounded by a legal battle, a furious statement after defeat, confusion about where he would stay, questions about whether Meghan would appear, and endless speculation about a royal reunion.
Part of Harry coming to Birmingham this week, yeah, he was supposed to go and see his dad. He was supposed to have the kids. Well, his other main reason was for the Invictus launch is to go and have meetings to try and drum up more support, drum up more sponsorship. And it's not going so well.
No, and we've said before that this return to the UK for the 1 year countdown is a non-event, like a nothing burger. And we've said, haven't we, what is this the countdown to? A diminished event, which is losing sponsors left and right.
Yeah.
If Invictus truly comes before everything else, why was the trip allowed to become another Sussex crisis marathon? Now the noise may have a price tag. Companies are careful about where they place millions. They want predictable events, controlled messaging, and leaders who keep the focus on the cause.
The association with the Sussexes and the cost of putting on the event, by the way, a lot of eyebrows raised.
A sponsor does not want to pay for an international veteran competition and then watch its name buried beneath stories about court attacks, palace briefings, family feuds, and backstage relief over Meghan's absence.
There have been lots of reports in the press that attention in the marriage has been that Meghan sees herself as a breadwinner. And I always take rare opportunities to defend Meghan where I can because we want to be fair and balanced and we don't want to be an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And I will say that I don't like Megs, but by golly, she's got get up and go. Right? She's no slouch.
Yeah.
She's bagged herself a prince. She's a world famous person, a detestable human in my view, but she's getting it done.
The Sussexes may believe every headline proves their importance. A corporate board may see the same headlines and decide the risk is not worth it. That is why the Boeing report matters far beyond one missing logo. Boeing supported previous Invictus Games, including Vancouver Whistler, but is reportedly not joining Birmingham. Maybe its decision has nothing to do with Harry or Meghan. Companies change budgets, strategies, and priorities all the time. But Harry does not have the luxury of ignoring how it looks. A major company leaves.
Main sponsors, Boeing, has actually pulled out. That would be a lot of money.
Wow.
The government in the UK has pledged, I think something like £30 million if they can match the sponsorship from elsewhere. So that's the challenge for them at the moment.
Organizers continue searching. Cancellation reports appear. And the founder spends his UK visit fighting battles that have nothing to do with the veterans.
We're hearing she's the breadwinner. And actually the evidence is that, she's the only one picking up the phone, making calls. We know the media, it ain't easy. So she's trying. Harry is not trying. And I'm also hearing that Harry thinks, well, Megs can do that rather grubby work of bringing money in, and I shall be the global leader, the humanitarian. I'll be the philanthropist. I'll be the man that makes the world a better place. Well, how's that going? Centivale, disaster. African Parks, disaster. Archwell, disaster. Invictus, double disaster.
Harry's defenders will say he remains deeply committed, and there is evidence for that. He works naturally with competitors, remembers their stories, participates in events, and speaks with a warmth that often disappears when he discusses the royal family or the media.
I mean, Harry is showing up as a broken prince, as I always say, and he doesn't have this wholeness about him. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's like a little bit of him coming, and it's not nice.
No, 100%. He is a broken prince.
People close to Invictus have praised the energy and attention he brings. That is exactly why this crisis is so painful. Harry is at his best when he focuses on the veterans, yet he repeatedly arrives surrounded by distractions that make the veterans fight for space inside his own headlines. One commentator said Harry should move heaven and earth to stop the games from being cancelled. That is not dramatic language for the sake of a television clip. It is the minimum expected from the man whose name is tied to the entire movement.
It's not only a problem for his brand, it's a problem for the marriage. Because how does he go to Meg's and say, well, I know that Invictus has gone up in smoke, but I'm still a philanthropist? I mean, how's that going to wash with the missus?
Yeah.
Harry cannot treat Birmingham like another appearance on his calendar. He must call companies, meet executives, build trust, explain the budget, and show sponsors exactly where their money will go. He must do the uncomfortable work of fundraising instead of assuming his title, and emotional speeches will open every door.
Invictus is Harry's real legacy, not the Netflix drama, not the spare, not the whinging and complaining and everything else that, his life has been documented by in recent years.
And where is Meghan in that rescue operation? If she is truly Harry's partner and Invictus is truly their shared priority, does she use her contacts, media relationships, and business network to bring sponsors into the room? Does she stay behind the scenes because organizers allegedly prefer a simpler event without her? Does she return next year and risk turning the games into another Sussex spectacle?
She's the only one making an effort to bring some cash in because she's a hustler.
Yeah.
And by the way, she knows no shame. She'll ask anyone for work. In fact, she
compliment and then a put down.
Well, I know. I mean, she'll be the one. She might actually be in Birmingham city centre, and she might visit Mr. Nijab's.
Neelam's.
That's the one. Him too. His kebab house.
Every option creates a problem, but doing nothing creates the biggest problem of all. A cancelled event would not be rescued by another glossy photograph. There is also a danger that the games could survive only by becoming smaller. Commentators have floated cutting the length, accommodation, or parts of the event to save money.
Harry's going to have to hustle hard to get another 20 million from somewhere.
Well, what it tells us, if by some miracle they put the show on next year, that'll be the last.
Perhaps indeed.
Nothing like that has been officially announced, but it shows where the conversation is moving. The real issue is whether the full plan can be delivered without a late rescue. A diminished Invictus would still serve veterans, but it would expose how far Harry's greatest project has fallen from its ambitions. The cruelest part is that the veterans did nothing to create this mess. They did not start the Sussex War with the palace. They did not attack a judge. They did not create the security contradictions. They did not turn every trip into a debate about Meghan. Competitors trained, recovered, and prepared to represent their countries. Their families made sacrifices beside them. If Birmingham is reduced or cancelled, they pay the emotional price while Harry and Meghan move on to the next interview, product launch, documentary, or public dispute.
It's bizarre for an event that just a year ago is having some of the world's most recognisable brands clamouring and begging to be a part of it.
Harry returned to Britain supposedly carrying the future of Invictus on his shoulders. Yet by the end of the week, people were discussing his court defeat, his attack on the judgment, his accommodation confusion, his security complaints, his private meeting with the king, Meghan's sudden disappearance, and reports that staff were happier without her. Invictus received its countdown event, but the Sussexes received the headlines. That is the exact pattern a desperate sponsor search cannot survive.
They could easily do 10 mil, but even Netflix aren't wanting to get involved in it.
You're so right. It could easily be a nice headline for them. Netflix save Invictus.
Yeah.
And they could cover themselves in glory. And it's damning that they shouldn't step in and that no one will now rescue this flaming dumpster fire.
The one-year countdown should have told the world that Birmingham was ready. Instead, it opened a countdown to a far more frightening deadline. How much money has actually been secured? How many major sponsors are still negotiating? What happens if the gap remains 6 months from now? Does the government increase its exposure? Do organizers reduce the games? Does Harry personally bring in donors? Or does everybody continue smiling for cameras until the crisis becomes impossible to hide?
I mean, they've lost all of their key backers. They've lost the fellow celebrities. So Oprah, Sir Elton, Gwyneth, the Clooneys, the Obamas. So they've lost the celebrities. They've lost the charity sector. And they're losing the corporate backers too. Big business have deserted Harry and Meghan. And that will cost them dear.
It will.
Harry now faces the most important test of his life outside the royal family. Not another interview, not another lawsuit, not another documentary designed to explain why everyone else failed him. He must prove that he can protect something bigger than his own feelings. Invictus cannot survive on anger toward the press, nostalgia for military service, or emotional stories about the past. It needs money, management, discipline, and a founder capable of keeping his private chaos away from the mission.
The biggest royal story of the year. This is an unmitigated disaster.
Yep.
For Harry. This is a nightmare on wheels. This is catastrophic.
Meghan faces a test too. If insiders truly felt relieved when she stayed away, she can attack the report, ignore it, or prove it wrong. She could support the games without demanding center stage. She could help secure funding without turning every meeting into content. She could show that her presence does not require endless drama and last-minute changes. But if she returns only when the cameras are largest and the attention is guaranteed, critics will say the event matters to her only when it can sell the Sussex brand. So Harry must make a choice. Does he spend the next year chasing reconciliation headlines, fighting legal wars, and allowing Meghan's attendance to become a weekly mystery?
Promotion of the Invictus Games. And Harry looked happy, and he does look happy in these circumstances, doing what he does best. And that's the frustration, because when he does this and goes well, you actually realize that Harry has made the biggest mistake of his life and going over to California, because he would have been able to carry on doing this without any problem. The only problem was that his wife didn't really enjoy the lifestyle.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple printable and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story. Or does he shut down the circus, open the sponsorship books, and put every ounce of his energy into Birmingham? If Invictus is truly his life's work, there is no excuse left. He must raise the money, restore confidence, and force the focus back onto the veterans before the word cancellation becomes an official announcement. Because if Birmingham fails, Harry cannot call it another media attack. He cannot blame the palace. He cannot blame security. He cannot blame organizers for being relieved Meghan stayed home.
The Invictus Games could get cancelled despite the Royals' best efforts to raise support and money.
He will have to confront the brutal reality that his greatest project entered its final year without enough certainty, while his personal drama once again became more powerful than the cause itself. Invictus gave Harry purpose when he needed it most. The question now is whether Harry can finally give Invictus the protection it needs.
Actions speak louder than words.
Do you believe Birmingham is genuinely at risk, or is this pressure designed to force sponsors forward? Does Harry still help Invictus attract money, or has the Sussex brand become too controversial? And after reports that staff felt relieved without Meghan, should she stay away or return and prove she can support the veterans without taking over? Tell us below and subscribe to Crown Clash for the next update.